Mobius Legends Issue 4. Ooh, that title page looks intriguing. I'm willing to bet I'll be underwhelmed, though. No sympathetic backstory for Scourge or anything. We start out seeing Scourge before he turned green, lying on a lawn chair on a beach that's called his private beach, with the sign misspelling beach and saying that while no dorks are allowed, babes are welcome anytime. Scourge says self-awarely that he loves shirking responsibility, being rebellious and all, and says, especially when it means laying back while the crew does all the dirty work keeping my turf in order. So he's not doing anything and they're doing the work? That doesn't really make any sense. Wouldn't he love beating people up with a super speed instead of cheating himself out of opportunities to do so? Isn't he supposed to be a villain? I mean, it's not like he hates doing that. Then he gets shocked by his shock watch, which apparently Miles resentfully rigged to have a greater shock range than ever before. And it gets cable now too. I don't like that Scourge's shades aren't really shades. They look more like regular glasses to me. Makes him look like a dork. Not to mention he doesn't have his leather jacket, which you'd think he'd be wearing all the time to look like a badass. Oh, now he has his leather jacket back on. I guess he was lying on the sand off screen. I mean, maybe he was hot because it was the summer? He runs across the ocean saying that he plans to beat a portal out of Kintobor, telling Alicia on a Bluetooth that his tech will give him the ultimate vacation, since apparently it's what got rid of Alicia's father. Actually, that would explain how the portal to Zone of Silence came to being on Mobius. I mean, how else would it have existed? But why would he want a vacation from being evil? I guess he wants a vacation from his gang, but then he complains about getting a portal for free. If he loves being evil so much, it makes sense that he'd complain about being cheated out of an opportunity to do it here, because he doesn't have to fight Kintobor. But then why did he even take a nap on the beach in the first place? He falls over being told by Zone Cop to freeze for the first time. Wow, I wish the Zone Cops always had this level of competence. Literally the second he planned a zone hop, he was caught for it. Bullshit. Why didn't they stop him from all his zone hopping then, like in Letijo Paulus? Why didn't they stop Eggman from doing stuff like the Genesis Wave? Scourge starts out lying about stealing chili dogs when you'd think a proud villain would be bragging about it to a cop, and confidently speed away since he has Sonic speed. Not deny it, like a coward. That doesn't make any sense for a Sonic. Or any Sonic. Then Scourge, who's called Sonic 372, is blamed for an illegal ocean dumping on an open interstate off-ramp, whatever that is. But since he seems confused, I'm wondering if he's actually innocent and maybe there's a different evil Sonic that did it? No, of course not, that'd be interesting. When he said illegal ocean dumping, I was imagining oil being dumped in an ocean somewhere. He's told that there's a separate highway for space, and the cosmic interstate is one for space-time. Sonic decides to be merciful by telling him that because this is his first offense, he'll give him a pass as long as he never goes to any other alternate Mobiuses. Why would he ever trust the evil Sonic to do that? When he's called a punk troublemaker, he decides to ignore that little jab. Again, this is confusing because unless he feels guilty about it, you'd think he would take pride in being a punk troublemaker, and taking it as a compliment. He says that he can't go back home through a portal full of water from the ocean, and tells Sonic to drop him off someplace nice. Sonic creates a portal for him and tells him not to mess with the fabric of reality. Yeah, like, you mean, like, you'll let Eggman do? Scourge snarks, the last thing I need is to mess up the order of the cosmos. I got my own problems. Like what? You gonna elaborate on that? I would have liked to see a story around that. Sonic's superior officer, Zobotnik, tells him that he's just assuming Scourge will cause more trouble, and his plan is to send the Prime Sonic to tidy up matters. So that explains why a portal opened for Sonic to go to Mobius, although that was already explained the first time we ever saw Sonic, saying that he was the one who opened up all those portals. It also explains how Scourge already knew about other Sonics when he met him. Sonic is told to play his part, and Zobotnik, who looks more like Robo-Robotnik, says that even if he fails him, he has many master plans. Okay, that's not what Zobotnik's supposed to look like. And isn't he supposed to be busy as a prison warden all the time? Not busy wasting time in front of zone monitors? I guess Sonic is just being forced to be his own cop, because you'd think he'd know Zobotnik is evil and not want to work for him. But the way Zobotnik was talking in Scourge Lockdown implied that he wasn't Zonic's boss, because someone else sent Zonic over to him to tell him how to do his job. I'm glad the story isn't supposed to be canon because it's not well written at all. It went exactly as I predicted, not having anything worthwhile and refreshing, and ending too quickly. In the next story, I'm reminded of the other M comic because it's all in black and white, making it harder for me to tell what's going on. This better be temporary. Knuckles goes through a warp ring to confront Phinehas, who he somehow knew was there to warp to him. He says that Phinehas is out of warp rings and energy, and he wants answers. I bet he's still got tricks up his sleeve, though. Knuckles asks what history he was talking about and what it has to do with Enertech. Phinehas briefly insults the Brotherhood, is punched, and then starts to explain. Of course, the ancient ruins are indeed from Albion, and are the place where evil experiments like the one done on Thrash were made. Yeah, duh, I figured that. Anything new? Eventually, the secrets of the experiments were leaked to government officials, probably from regretful participants, and the experiments were not only shut down, but shadily erased from history, rather than admitting to any mistakes. Because we want to repeat those mistakes. Phinehas continued their experiments centuries later. He explains that Enerjack is an immortal being that somehow exists within the Chaos Force itself, and those with a strong connection to the Chaos Force can take his form and through him use omnipotence. Yeah, I already figured that when Knuckles turned into Enerjack twice. I figured he was like Ganon, being reincarnated. Enerjack had desired to conquer the world and failed from arrogance, so he was an old conqueror like Ganon, and that's going to be all they'll do to explain his character. How did he come to exist within the Chaos Force itself then? You're not going to explain that, the one thing that actually matters and wasn't a no shit? And Knuckles isn't going to ask that of him? Okay then, I think that would have made a better story. Then Knuckles says that Phinehas had said Locke wasn't really dead. No, he didn't. But that would make more sense considering Locke is clearly alive in the 25 years later arc. Phinehas says that he knew Locke wouldn't be able to break the hex without surpassing his mortal limit, but his ultimate fate is something he was unsure about, so he was probably absorbed into the Chaos Force, meaning he is dead, idiot. We saw echidnas that were one with the Chaos Force, and they were all those ghosts that were part of the Brotherhood, who I doubt Thrash put them in the warp rings, so why aren't they still around? So since Phinehas doesn't know the answer to this is kind of pointless. Instead of asking him for clarification on that either, Knuckles wastes time asking Phinehas why he's doing this, when he already knows he wants to destroy the planet out of Sidikism for no good reason. Knuckles says he fortunately didn't mean that, and he's actually asking Phinehas why the fuck he wants to do that. Phinehas briefly thinks that the longer he stalls Knuckles, the better his odds of escaping are. What, does he have people somehow convinced to help him who he's waiting for to show up? Well, at least this explains why he's bothering to give him exposition when he has nothing to gain from it otherwise. If he just recaps his backstory in Albion to Knuckles and tells us nothing new, then I swear. Phinehas explains that when he left Albion with his doctorate, he saw that the world outside of it was a mess thanks to Zobotnik. So everyone was completely sheltered from the world outside and knew nothing about it? Why did he leave it then? Wouldn't everyone be forbidden from leaving Albion then? To keep the secrets? Did he escape illegally? Because he doesn't say that. When he absorbed the energy of the Chaos Siphon, he saw visions of the past, present, and future for no reason. But chief among them was the utter destruction of Mobius, as he saw everyone trying to kill their own loved ones for no reason, and supposedly all of this to be brought to pass by the very people he wanted to help. Who, the Albion scientists? That Thrash got rid of already? Why? Plus, I hope this is a future that can be changed, and that's overly depressing and invalidates everything the heroes are doing. Phinehas decided from that vision that he had to kill everyone so life may continue. Life can't continue from nothing. There has to be enough there. Nut. Phinehas pointlessly asks Knuckles to join him when he should know better, and lies that they can save those he holds dearest and bring a prosperous future for all, after purging the world so there can be a prosperous future. Knuckles tells Phinehas that he's a coward, lampshading that rather than try to prevent the future he saw, he works for it and he's no better than those he seeks to destroy. After Knuckles stupidly doesn't kill Phinehas like he should, he gets knocked out when Thrash warps him with a warp ring, and he threatens Phinehas with being banished forever. How did Thrash not notice Knuckles? He tries to fight back, and I guess Thrash was killed by him? It's kinda hard to tell in black and white. It looks like he got hit by a laser, but did he survive? Knuckles then takes the Chaos Emerald and looks angsty. I'm not sure what's going on or if they're trying to imply something new will happen with him later. In the next story, which has another hype cover that I'm sure will be just as disappointing, we see Sally with her beautiful long-haired design, asking Sonic if he loves her. He just asks, "What kind of question is that?" instead of saying it back. The most clueless boyfriend ever. No wonder she dumped him. This is almost as bad as when she said "I love you" and he said "I know." You think basic common sense would dictate that you have to say it back. Otherwise, how could he even maintain a single girlfriend? She sheds a tear, saying it doesn't matter, as Sonic feels sorry for her in her random state. Then we see Sally's parents getting ready to see Sonic and Sally be married in 2 weeks, and they don't look happy about it. Why didn't either of them break it off? Why would Sonic care what Sally's parents think? Sally wants to tell him something, and she remembers the good times she had with Sonic and the statue when he supposedly dies, and tells Sonic that she loves him. She kisses him, a text box calls her babe, asking if she's ready for the wedding. It's really weird that we never saw Sonic propose for the supposed official couple the writers care about so much, by the way. And then we see Sally and Sonic looking unhappy while Sonic's on the couch playing a guitar. Come on guys, I already know their relationship can't work. This story feels like a waste of time. Sally says she doesn't know what she's ready for and needs some time alone. It's almost as if they're too young to get married on a whim and they're completely incompatible. We're not shown that in this particular issue. We're just shown them being depressed for no reason. He follows Sally to the statue and she cries, saying that she knows the truth. She accuses Sonic of replacing the Sonic she knew. Sonic, in this non-canon test story, says with a smirk that everyone thinks their beloved Sonic is back from the dead, and he smirks again, this is probably Scourge, as he tells Sally that making the realization Sonic's still dead was probably one of the hardest things she's ever done. Also, he has a fang, even though Scourge only got fangs when he turned green, so this contributed to my assumption that this was a second evil Sonic, which would have been more interesting. I guess when he returned with the fang, he explained away the fang as having some sort of magical or alien origin, because you'd think otherwise people would be questioning how it's him. So I guess he's evil because he's smirking, and not just complimenting her, being proud of her for realizing that when that was hard on her. It would be more interesting seeing Sonic replaced with a doppelganger like this if that doppelganger wasn't pure evil and was more complex like an actual person instead. So I'm sure we won't see that. He tells Sally that in the end, all Sonics are the same, and he puts his hand on her chin lovingly, saying that she and Sonic were never meant to last anyways. He's right. She doesn't believe him because she's delusional, and the doppelganger says that while she could have kept pretending Sonic was back, now she's got nothing, because their relationship's obviously over. She asks why he did this, and because fuck thinking up a proper excuse for his behavior, the writer just throws her hands up in the air and makes him say, "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." Translation, there isn't a reason. The doppelganger thinks that the whole hero thing is overrated out of nowhere, as we see Sally crying with his mother, and he thinks that he doesn't need friends but he can have servants anyways. Then Scourge says that Sally taught him the evil Sonic is the best Sonic. This is so stupid. He doesn't come to the conclusion that being a hero is overrated naturally at all. Sure, his reasoning is that he's still alive and Sonic isn't, but hello, every other Sonic is still alive, except the one from Zobotnik's universe. This was just frustrating. The first story was exactly as disappointing as I expected. I figured they wouldn't bother to have something refreshing and worthwhile done with Scourge's character by showing us his sad backstory where his parents neglected him and hated him, or showing us in depth what his relationship is with his friends, like his relationship with Miles. We even see that Miles made a shock watch for him for his inexplicable laziness of being evil, and yet we don't learn why he decided to do that, like wanting revenge since he doesn't spend enough time with his little brother. Instead, the first story is a complete waste of time. He wants a vacation from being evil when he's still evil and has no guilt over it, so he has no reason for anything he's doing. Then Sonic immediately catches him trying to zone hop over the ocean, which is bullshit because he never had that kind of competence normally. Why doesn't he do this to Eggman? Nothing interesting happens here. Well, it does have some no-shit explanations for plot holes, like Zobotnik intentionally sent Sonic to Scourge to clean things up. Way to screw things up. And Scourge knows about other zones and Sonic's because Sonic told him. But who cares? I could have assumed that on my own, and Zobotnik is not Sonic's boss. And Sonic wouldn't have put up with him having master plans. You'd think him saying master plan would give it all away right away. Though these are test stories, so I guess it's okay to take extreme liberties with the canon, but why waste time on that when you can just write a fanfiction? Like, the art is good, but I know it sounds harsh, but it's frustrating having these non-canon test stories take up valuable time and effort that could be going towards getting out actually canon issues faster. Those are the ones I'm really looking forward to. Also, I hate how Scourge's shades are drawn in this issue. He looked like he's wearing dorky glasses, and I didn't know screwing that up was even possible. The story also has a text page saying, how does this story tie to the plots of other villains? We'll never know. I wish I saw that story instead. That should have been the whole issue. And I said that basic sentence a lot in this review. The second story has Phinehas, who Knuckles somehow cornered with a warp ring because I guess he stumbled into him and chased him with it a lot. And also one text page that I skipped explains that Knuckles used the power of one Chaos Emerald to nullify the warp rings that he knew how to do somehow. All of them? Ever? Just the ones in Mobius Prime? That sounds like something we should have seen. Anyways, Phinehas tells him a bunch of no-shit explanations for All Beyond History that I already assumed were the case. Getting confirmation of this only matters in the sense that it'd probably be canon to the actual comic as well, since this is just a test story. Meaning that having the exposition dump in a test story is pointless when nothing's canon anyways. The only thing that's interesting is the revelation that Phinehas had a vision of a terrible future where friend turned against friend for no reason, and the world was ruined by the people he helped. Except all the people he helped were sent away by Thrash, so why is he still wasting time with his plan? At least it kind of explains why he's so cynical, but not really. Why would he work to bring about that future instead of prevent it? I guess he's insane, but... And the third story has no real direction because the twist is so jarring. It starts out being another no-shit story where Sonic and Sally aren't happy in a relationship together, go figure, which I thought the whole story would be about, and it's pretty jarring since it takes place shortly after Sonic was presumed dead, when the two are madly in love. Then it goes completely off the rails as it turns out that Sonic was replaced by a Scourge, and for absolutely no reason whatsoever, he thinks that being a hero is overrated, even though he clearly loved it when he tried it out in issue 150, being praised, purely because he thinks it could get you killed. Yeah, because being a villain totally wouldn't get your life at risk. Scourge totally isn't putting his life at risk every day. Nobody wants to kill evil dictators. Why would he ever admit to Sally that he's not Sonic? Wouldn't he want to keep Sonic's life? We should have been shown Scourge's perspective, instead of all those precious pages at the start being wasted. Then Scourge's random jarring decision at the end would be more natural, like maybe we'd see him being incompetent as a hero, as if I could buy that with super speed. Maybe he'd been called out on for being too harsh against his enemies. All I can say at the end of this is, thank God Mobius Legends 5 will be the final one. What a waste! The comics, the covers are beautiful and full of hype, but as I expected, it was nothing but underwhelmingness. With that cover, I was expecting a story where we got to see one of his adventures zone hopping, but no. And it's possibly the most underwhelming issue of them all. Only the third one had any potential with the plot it had, and only in the sense of, I have an idea of how it should have been completely rewritten. I'd expect fans to take much better advantage of showing us Scourge's time in Anti-Mobius before he turned green, but instead it's just as bland, predictable, and underdeveloped as when Penders wrote him. Meh. At least they're still working on the actually canon issues. I hope those come soon.